Hello, Kyäni, and welcome to the Wednesday webinar. My name is Andrew Mangeris, and I will be your host this evening. We host these webinars every Wednesday at 6 p.m. We have changed the time to 6 p.m. in the evening, and that is Mountain Standard Time. So we'd like to welcome you. We've got a few announcements that we would like to cover this evening. First is Wellness TV this week. Just so you know, Dr. Andreas is doing a how to use the triangle of health, and he'll release that Wellness TV on Friday, so look for that coming later this week. As a reminder, the potato pack promotion, you get an extra 20% QV on all potato pack purchases, as well as if you're a diamond or above and you have a group that you would like to donate specifically to, and you have over 6,000 of potato pack, you can actually have that sent to your specific charity or the charity of your choice in your local town. So maybe you've got a group in your organization there and you want to help contribute to a local charity. We would be happy to do that. As well as this is the last month in the Dash to Diamond. So don't forget last month and Dash to Diamond. Okay, let's jump in. This evening we're going to talk about nitric oxide and our nitro products. First, nitric oxide has over 100,000 studies that have been done on it. And that's an unprecedented mark in the scientific community, especially since nitric oxide was only discovered a little over 20 years ago. And so to have over 100,000 studies that have been done on it, it's because it's so key and vital to so many parts of the body. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Matter of fact, today I had a great conversation with Dr. Andreas, and he wants to go into some detail about the three components of anti-aging that nitric oxide addresses. But what else? Nitric oxide received a Nobel Prize for its discovery because of its importance, because it's so key in the body that it was given a Nobel Prize. Pretty impressive. Let's look at what happens to nitric oxide levels over time. When you look at nitric oxide over time, men, your nitric oxide levels decline by 50% by age 40. Women, yours decline not quite as rapidly, but we both end up in about the same place. So you can see the nitric oxide levels as we start to age, they gradually go down farther and farther, which shows us the need that we have to increase and support those nitric oxide levels. Let's talk about some of the benefits of nitro. Nitro supports nitric oxide production, and we'll talk about that a little bit more here in a minute. Encourages blood flow, meaning it helps that, and I'll show you some studies, it helps to increase blood flow throughout the body. And particularly, it helps increase blood flow around your intestinal area, the mesenteric blood flow, which is key to help delivering nutrients. And so that third point supports nutrient absorption and delivery. This is key to the nitro effect and what we refer to as the power of nitro nutrition. And that's why we recommend everybody take nitro before they take their sunrise, as well as before they take their sunset, because it helps support nutrient absorption and delivery of those nutrients. Also helps to promote energy, and it helps to sustain the immune system. Let's talk a little bit about the immune system here. Recently pulled up some numbers on the flu vaccine and its effectiveness. We're right upon the flu season. It's just coming right around the corner. Many people are thinking about getting their flu vaccines, which I'm not going to suggest one way or the other. If you get a flu vaccine, great. If not, that's your choice. But the effectiveness of these flu vaccines has continually eroded over the years. This is the past 10 years. And this year is expected to be the lowest effectiveness rate in history. And this comes from the Center of Disease Control, and you can see their numbers of effectiveness. And so that just means that you're getting down below 20% of the people who have a vaccine it's actually being effective for. Very low numbers. Now I want to show you another study. This is a credible study that was done on nitric oxide in influenza. They found that nitric oxide inhibited the influenza virus or the flu virus from replicating. Incredible pathogenesis of the flu virus. Pathogenesis meaning it could not survive in the presence of nitric oxide. So what does that mean for us? If we want to support a healthy immune system, we need to support our nitric oxide levels because we know of the benefit that we receive from them. The Nitro Effect. I mentioned this briefly already, but the Nitro Effect is when you increase your nitric oxide levels to help support the absorption and delivery of those nutrients. And that's why we recommend that you take it to help increase the absorption of all those vitamins, minerals, as well as all of those superfoods that are in sunrise. If you want tocotrienols to work better, increase the nitric oxide production. And that is the Nitro Effect. Let's go through some science that actually explains this Nitro Effect. This was a study that was published in the International Journal of Gastroenterology and Hepatology. And they found that nitric oxide is involved in the transportation in the intestinal system. And how did it do that? It affected the mucosal blood flow. It helped increase the blood flow there around the intestinal area. Pretty impressive. Now we're talking about transporting different molecules, and that nitric oxide is key in transporting these molecules. Again, in that same study, they found that nitric oxide also controls the absorption in the body. So when you're talking about those microvilli is just the areas in the small intestines that's going to absorb your food, your nutrients, and everything that your body's taking in. When you absorb that, that nitric oxide is what helps to control that absorption. Pretty powerful. Let's look at another study. The American Heart Journal published this study, and it talked about the effects of increasing your blood flow around the mesenteric blood vessels. And those are, mesenteric just refers to those blood vessels that are around the intestinal area. And we all know that your food and nutrients and everything is absorbed in the intestinal area. And so what they found is that it helped to increase that blood flow through the mesenteric area or through that intestinal area in the body. And we know when we can increase that blood flow, then we're going to increase the delivery as well as the absorption of those nutrients. Let's look at another study that was done, and it was also published in the same journal there in the Gut Journal. And this was directly related to mesenteric blood flow of how much it increased. And you can see here, there's the control group, and then there's the nitric oxide group 1 that increased it 100%. You're talking about increasing blood flow 100% in those blood vessels around your intestinal area. As well as, look at number 2, 170% increase. Incredible. Again, showing the value of taking nitro to help you increase the absorption and delivery of those nutrients. Next, let's look at this. This was published in the Journal of Nutrition Research. And they found that taking nitrates and nitrites in the morning in older individuals help them to have higher levels of nitrates and nitrites throughout the day. So what does that mean? That means that their blood plasma levels were increased with nitrate levels. And we know that nitrates can convert into nitric oxide. And the more nitrate levels that you have in the blood, and the longer it lasts throughout the day, the better it's going to be able to deliver and be able to be utilized and turned into nitric oxide. So again, another story, another scientific study showing the benefit of it. Let's talk a little bit about how we take our nitro. Nitro we take before we take our sunrise, as I mentioned. Why? Because we've got all of those 22 superfoods and all of those vitamins and minerals that are in there that we want to help increase the absorption on. Okay? We take it during afternoon time or other times of the day. If we're going to have a workout, I highly recommend you taking it 15 to 20 minutes before a workout. If you go do a workout in the morning, take it before then. If you do it in the noontime, lunchtime, afternoon, take your nitro before then as well. And then, of course, in the evening. If you take your sunset with your meal, then take your sunset before the meal and take the nitro right before you take your sunset as well. We recommend that you take the sunset. If you listen to the call last week or the Wednesday webinar last week, I talked about taking that with a meal because you're going to increase the digestive juices to help absorb as well the sunset. But take that nitro first and then take the sunset. Well, we want to thank you guys for joining us this week on our Wednesday webinar. Share this with your team. We will be posting this webinar later on YouTube. Last week's is already posted on there. Give us a little bit of time, but you can connect back to this link and you'll be able to watch it and re-record the recordings again. If you want to go back and do a little bit of a review on some of those scientific studies that we have. Next week on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, we will have a sales training on the Wednesday webinar with some field leaders. Skylar Stephenson will be hosting that, and we look forward to having him and doing some of that sales training. Again, thank you for joining us. My name is Andrew Mangeris. I live Kyäni, and I love Kyäni. Thank you.